Hello and welcome back to another episode of Injustice For All MMA. My name is David, and this episode is for UFC Fight Night Taira versus Park. I just finished the card, and now it's time to talk about it. First fight of the night, Rodriguez versus Souza. It ended up being a split decision. Definitely should not have been a split decision. I had this 30-27 for Rodriguez. I don't know what... This is a theme tonight where certain scorecards... This is a theme tonight. This is a theme for this specific card where scorecards are just either overscored or just really underscored because of certain optics. Let's go through it real quick. I had a 30-27 in the first round. Rodriguez had 2 takedowns. Now, I do want to say that this is a sloppy-looking fight. And, obviously the commentary doesn't affect the scoring. But per usual, the commentary will make you think that one fighter is just doing it better than the other because of just the optics of the fight, right? If a fighter, for example, like in a fight we'll get to in a minute, is just moving his head a lot and dodging a lot of strikes, but is still getting hit more frequently than the other guy, they will just assume that he's winning based off of how stylish he looks, right? And that sort of thinking, I feel like, permeates these scorecards. So let's start off with the first round. Rodriguez has 2 takedowns, and she outstrikes Souza on the feet by about 5 strikes. There you have it on that. You go to the second round. It's close on strikes, but Rodriguez has 3 individual takedowns. Now, I want to make this very clear. The strikes are even. Excuse my throat. My throat's a little washed up right now, but the strikes are really even in the second round. Rodriguez has 3 individual takedowns, and I'm looking at the judges' scorecards, and we'll get to it in a minute. It's wild that they didn't even give that round to Rodriguez. Third round, Rodriguez has 2 takedowns, and she outstrikes Souza on the feet by a very small margin, but it's by 2 strikes regardless. You go to the judges' scorecards, and they're just really bad. All 3 of them. Mike Bell, Saul Diamata, their scorecards reflect the same. They give the first and the third round to Rodriguez. They don't give the second round to Rodriguez. That's nonsense. Honorable mention to all 3 of these guys. But Derek Cleary, he gives the first round to Souza, which is nonsense, and then gives the second round to Souza. Now, I want to say that all 3 give the third round to Souza. So they all got hypnotized in the optics of Souza's going forward and occasionally outstriking Rodriguez. But so was Rodriguez. The strikes were pretty close, even if you want to be accurate about it. And Rodriguez has 3 individual takedowns. I don't know what we're scoring here at this point. It's an absolute nonsense. Honorable mention all 3. It's crazy when I was watching it live. We go to the next honorable mention. Estevam versus Bunes. You have 29. I have it 29-28 on my scorecard. First round for Bunes, last 2 rounds for Estevam. I put a close marker on the first round to be... In the moment, I knew who won the first round. Bunes won the first round. But I wanted to be kind of objective in case someone came up with an alternative scorecard and made an argument for it. But as the fight went on, I was like, you know what? I think I'm kind of right on this one. 29-28 to Estevam. In the first round... It's dead even on strikes. Estevam gets a takedown with about 2 minutes to go and proceeds to do nothing on top. I'm not exaggerating. He does nothing on top. So that mixed in with the fact that Bunes then ties up a submission attempt that is in but has no effect on Estevam. He's the only one doing something on bottom, and so he wins the round. It's kind of an even round, and then Bunes throws up a submission that's deep. It's deep and it's in, and so that round goes to Bunes. And he does that to close the round out. You go to the second round where Estevam outstrikes Bunes on the feet by about 7 strikes. Estevam also has 2 takedowns with ground and pound for about 2+ minutes. In the third round, Estevam has 2 takedowns with ground and pound for about 3+ minutes, so the fight belongs to him. You go to the judges' scorecards, and all 3 scorecards reflect mine. Next honorable mention, it's Vieira versus Gore. This fight is infuriating. This fight is infuriating for the mere fact that, Vieira wants to get this to the ground, but at the same time he doesn't want to gas out. And Tresean, forget about Vieira for a second. The real garbage thing about this fight is that Tresean refuses to just step up a little bit. It's kind of like the first two rounds of Ribovics and Brener for Ribovics, where the first two rounds Ribovics kind of refuses to just step up a little bit so his strikes can land cleanly. We'll get to that fight in a second. But Tresean just decides, you know what, I'm just going to punch the air. I'm going to be like a tad bit short of actually hitting the mark on Vieira, coupled with the fact that Tresean won't move his head, right? So this fight is basically like an alternative copy of Vieira versus Brener, minus Vieira being Brener. Let's go to these descriptions. I had a 30-27 for Vieira. It's a 30-27. I was so surprised when a judge gave a round to Gore. I wanted to break my computer screen. First round, Vieira has a takedown, does nothing with it, but he outstrikes Gore. He outstrikes him in all three rounds. Let's not even play here. He outstrikes him in all three rounds. He outstrikes him in the first round by about 7 strikes. Second round, he outstrikes Gore by about 17 strikes. The strike numbers that they were showing were off. In my opinion, they were incorrect, but we'll leave that for later. Second round, 17 strikes. In the third round, Vieira outstrikes Gore by about 13 strikes. The commentary is almost like they have a headpiece in and someone's telling them, hey, we don't have Brian Battle anymore, so guess what? Let's push Tresean Gore, even though we've seen really nothing from him. We've seen nothing from Tresean Gore. The commentary sounds as though they really want Tresean Gore to win. Or they think Tresean Gore is leaps and bounds better than Rodolfo Vieira. And you maybe could have said that in some universe at some point in time previous to this fight. But while this fight was going on, it was apparent that Tresean Gore, I don't want to even say doesn't want to get hit. That's not the right word. Refuses to go forward with his strikes. He refuses to... I'm trying to refrain from saying scared to strike, because he is throwing strikes. They're just, in a way, they're purposely missing. That's my analysis on that. You go to the scorecards. Rick Winter, Ron McCarthy, their scorecards are correct. 30-27 for Vieira. And then Chris Lee, honorable mention, just a shit scorecard. He gives the last round to Tresean Gore. That's fucking horse. That's nonsense. So honorable mention to Chris Lee. Go to the next honorable mention. Silva versus Vallejos. This fight pissed me off on so many levels. It pissed me off. 30-27 Vallejos. This was a 30-27. This was the optics fight, right? And thankfully the judges didn't get mixed in the optics. I was the way the commentary was talking about this fight made it feel as though the judges were going to score it the same way. And thankfully they didn't. When they read out the scorecards, I was very happy. Let me read off the descriptions. The first round, Vallejos outstruck Silva by about 7+ strikes. Silva had a takedown to close the round, and in that moment, the commentary, Dominic Cruz, to be exact, made a comment that he said, wow, in a very close round, that might have swayed it. And I was thinking to myself, it's not close. Silva is getting outstruck pretty well, and the thing that is making this round look even, in air quotes, is Silva being performative, right? Silva's putting on the classic, what then now I would like to call classic Brendan Allen performance, where he's being theatrical in the cage, right? Talking, pointing, doing all that goofy shit that could fuck up the scorecards, really. Or if you want to even go way, way back, we could go to Marab, right? But but I'm going to say Brandon for right now. Silva is doing a lot of that. He's doing a lot of turning and oh, that punch hit my shoulder, that so it wasn't clean. But despite that being the case, despite Vallejos attacking Silva and a lot of the strikes being blocked, he was landing pretty frequently, and he was landing accurately a lot more than Silva was. And so Silva's defense mechanism was, let me be a nuisance orally in the cage and make this look different than what it actually was, right? It's almost like he was trying to get inside Vallejos' head. And so it was a weird optics round. I kind of wrote that down. It was an optics round because well, you could put that in all three rounds. It was just an optics round, really. You go to the second round. Vallejos outstruck Silva by about 16 plus strikes. Vallejos also had a takedown. And then in the third round, Vallejos outstruck Silva by about 5 plus strikes. Again, another optics round, and maybe that's why one of the judges gave that last round to Silva. Silva started to land more frequently towards the end of the round, but in actuality, he was losing, and he was getting outstruck still pretty well. So there you have it on that. You go to the judges' scorecards. Mike Bell, Tony Weeks, their scorecards reflect mine. 30-27 to Vallejos. Ron McCarthy, nonsense. Honorable mention him. He gives the last round to Silva. Some of these fighters just like to put on these weird little performances where it looks as though they're winning, but they're not. It's more talking than punching and dodging strikes, but this isn't a defensive thing. You go to the next honorable mention, Magny versus Dos Santos. First round, I gave Dos Santos 10-9 for Dos Santos in the first round. It ends by TKO. Neil Magny gets the win by TKO in the second round. In that very first round, Santos outstrikes Magny by about 4 strikes. At first, Magny's outstriking him, then it kind of shifts to Dos Santos, and then towards the end of the round, it's Dos Santos who kind of bottles up Magny and lands a few strikes that really takes the round, right? Dos Santos finishes really well, and that round belongs to him, and then the finish happens in the second round. You go to the judges' scorecards, and Derek Cleary, Saul Diamante, their scorecards reflect mine. Junior Shiro Kamijo gives the first round to Neil Magny. That's ridiculous. Honorable mention to Junior Shiro Kamijo. That's stupid. Next honorable mention. This fight pissed me off, though. Also, Rosa versus Cornolle. The fact that Cornolle is ranked this high just shows that the bantamweight division is this high. The fact that she's ranked just shows that this division is so fucking garbage. It's so fucking garbage. My scorecard, it's 30-20. Where are we at here? It's 29-28. 29-28. It's all over the place on the scorecards. It's 29-28. First round for Cornolle. Last 2 rounds for Rosa. You start off in the first round. Cornolle outstrikes Rosa by about 3 strikes, mostly in the clinch, right? They're kind of trading strikes on the feet, and then it gets into the clinch, and basically Cornolle has the last laugh in the sense that they're kind of going back and forth in the clinch, but Cornolle outstrikes Rosa in the clinch by about a few strikes or so, and that gives her the round. You then go to the second round where Rosa finally decides, and this is what's so crazy. I've seen so many Rosa fights that I'm just like, she has hands. She has hands. She's a really good fighter. And I think in this fight, either she just couldn't take what Rosa was throwing or decided her hands weren't working and decided, we're just going to wrestle. And thankfully she did. In the second round, she has a takedown with ground and pound for about 2 plus. She has a takedown with ground and pound. And 2 submission attempts for about 4 plus minutes. Possible 10-8. Now, I want to say this. I don't think it's a 10-8. Nor do I think it should have been scored a 10-8. But I put a possible 10-8 because of the time, right? Almost immediately, the round starts, she gets a takedown. That's almost 5 minutes of ground control time. Little on the ground and pound, which makes me not give her the 10-8. Little on the ground and pound. And then it's 2 submissions. Now, the 2 submissions were in, but they weren't they weren't really threatening. They were just she just kind of did them. I don't think this is a 10-8, but I put a possible 10-8 just to be objective here. You go to the third round. I also don't think the third round was a 10-8. We'll get to the scorecards. Host has a takedown with about 3 minutes of ground and pound. And then this is what's funny. Cornolle was active on bottom. She was very active on bottom. For like a good 30 seconds, she was just raining elbows on Carol Rosa. Right? And Rosa's ground and pound didn't even start until about the last minute. All of her ground and pound before that was very just body, head, mostly body. And then the last minute to 30 seconds was when her ground and pound came alive, Carol Rosa. So the scorecard, I'm going to break down the scorecards, and they're just fucking stupid. Again, mine is 29-28 for Rosa. Mike Bell, you have it 30. He has a 30-26. Honorable mention, this is a shit scorecard. He gives the second round to Rosa 10-8. That's fine. Last round to Rosa 10-9. That's correct. First round he gives to Rosa as well. That's nonsense. Honorable mention. Ron McCarthy and Chris Lee. They both have it 29-27, but we'll break it down. Chris Lee, he gives the first round to Cornolle. That's correct. Second round to Rosa. That's correct. He gives the third round at 10-8. You know, if he was going to give a 10-8, it'd be in the second round. He gives the third round at 10-8. And this is why it's stupid. Her ground and pound, the work that she does where she just spammed ground and pound on Cornolle, was 30 to a minute left of the round. And I'm thinking to myself, no. This isn't, it's enough, but it's not enough to get a 10-8. It was just there. And then on top of that, are we just going to discredit Carol Rosa's throwing massive elbows from the bottom in this third round? I guess we are. So, honorable mention to Chris Lee. That's a stupid third round decision. And then Ron McCarthy, scorecard's fine. He gives the first to Carol Rosa. He gives the first to Cornolle. Second, a 10-8 to Carol Rosa. And third, a 10-9 to Carol Rosa. So, there you have it on that. Go to the next honorable mention. And this was one of the two fight of the nights. Brener versus Ribovics. I'm a big fan of Ribovics, man. I like Ribovics a lot. But this fight, and just to say one more thing, he definitely got robbed against Hack Press. But beyond that, we'll skip over that. Beyond that, this fight is deceptively close. And it's close only because of Ribovics. Ribovics doesn't move his head. He just doesn't move his head. He never moves his head. That's one. And on top of that, not only does he not move his head, there are huge portions of this fight where Ribovics he's not landing. He's throwing 3-shot combinations that are whiffing by Brener. Now, he's pushing the pace on Brener, but he's whiffing on almost all his strikes. Let's start off with this. I have a 29-28 for Ribovics. First round Ribovics, third round Ribovics, second round for Brener. I put a close mark on the first round to be objective because this fight is deceptively close, but the scorecards won't show that. First round is close on strikes with the edge to Ribovics. Right, Ribovics is getting outstruck before Brener falls. Before Brener falls, Ribovics is getting outstruck slightly. And then, not even slightly, he's getting outstruck by a decent margin. And then Ribovics unloads like a multi-punch combination on top of Brener while he's on the ground. And that kind of evens up the strikes a little bit, gets Ribovics up on strikes. And then they both kind of go tit for tat a little bit. And the strikes are kind of close. The edge goes to Ribovics in that first round. But it's close. It's not as though Ribovics outstruck him by a stupid margin or anything. And then go to the second round. Brener is outstriking Ribovics by 10 strikes. I'm very surprised that 2 judges didn't score the second round for Ribovics. Again, in the first round and the second round, Ribovics is not moving his head. I mean, he didn't move his head for up until maybe the third round, but he doesn't move his head. And he's just getting caught by all these strikes. And on top of that, when he's going forward on Brener, he's throwing 4-shot combinations where only one lands. And he's looking like Trayshawn Gore, where these strikes are that if he just made one more step forward, these strikes would all land. And it's only until the third round where somehow he figures that out. I almost broke my computer screen because I thought to myself, he's gonna lose a decision and I'm gonna be mad. You go to the third round, where Ribovics just outstrikes Brener. He just outstrikes Brener straight up. He's outstriking him for pretty much like 4 minutes of this round, and then Ribovics outstrikes Brener for about 3-4 minutes of the third round, and then Brener starts to just unload and land heavy shots occasionally, and so does Ribovics, but Brener a little more than Ribovics, but still Ribovics is up on strikes and heavy strikes and all the other stuff, and that round belongs to Ribovics. You go to the judges' scorecards. Derek Cleary, his scorecard is correct. His scorecard reflects mine. It's 29-28. First round Ribovics, last round Ribovics, and then Saul D'Amato and Rick Winter, honorable mention on those scorecards. They give all 3 rounds to Ribovics. They should have given the second to Brener. Honorable mention to those 2. Go to the next honorable mention, and it's Rebecki. I was going to say Rebecki versus Duncan. I'll probably say Rebecki later on, but Rebecki versus Duncan. 29-28 to Duncan. First round for Rebecki, last 2 rounds for Duncan. You go to the first round where Rebecki just outstruck Duncan on the feet by about 6 strikes. Rebecki had some ground and pound too, some cool. Second round, Rebecki had a takedown, but didn't matter. He got outstruck by Duncan by about 7 strikes. And then the third round, Duncan outstruck Rebecki by about 7+ strikes. Really fun fight. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You go to the judges' scorecards. And when I heard 30-27, I almost, I don't, what are we doing? Mike Bell, Ron McCarthy, their scorecards reflect mine. And Junichiro Kamiya, honorable mention. It's just a stupid scorecard. He gives all 3 rounds to Chris Duncan. He gives the first round to Chris Duncan. What the fuck? What are we doing? What are we doing? He got outstruck pretty well. He got outstruck, and he got taken down. Oh, excuse me, he didn't get taken down, and he got hit with some ground and pound as well. Honorable mention to Junichiro Kamiya. Just sad scorecards. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you all for listening, and God bless.